Fixing my ears out. Yeah, you're good. How am I doing? Because last week I was pretty quiet.
That's just great. Like start off the podcast with a great clearing of the throat right into everybody's ears.
Yep. I care not, Keenan.
You care for nothing.
Someone's awfully quiet to the point where I think his mic's not working.
No, I'm fine, boys.
Oh, okay.
Just waiting for us to start, man. Because everybody's listening to the Link Cable podcast for Monday, May 13th, 2019. I'm Kitten.
And I'm
Who's with
Tim.
My name is Chris.
What episode are we on?
This is episode 118.
I feel like the teens in the hundreds have been going by real slow. I don't know why.
Really, I feel the opposite. I feel like we blew past them.
Oh, yeah.
100 was just earlier in the year, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We're chugging along right now.
Yeah.
So, how's your week been?
Which one of us are you speaking to? Both? Neither?
Hey.
You're talking to yourself?
I'm talking to either of you.
My week was good. My week was really good. My weekend.
Yeah, you guys do anything special this weekend?
We did, in fact, Keenan, which I'm sure you're well aware. But nice intro to it. So we went and saw a certain comic book manga author on the weekend in Toronto. None other than the one and only Junji Ito. And I met him, and I got nervous in front of him. And
so wait. Who is Junji Ito for people who have
Junji Ito?
Who this master of you guys?
Yeah, how would you even introduce the guy? He's been working for
what do you mean? How do you introduce him? He's a guy that writes comics.
Yeah, I said that already.
He does horror comics. The most famous thing he does is probably Uzumaki, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's kind of all you need. Like anybody who's going to know beyond that is already going to know from that description.
I feel like he sort of became an internet meme with the Fault of whatever. What's it called?
Yeah, Amigahara Fault.
That was one of the things that like boosted him a little bit, and now a lot of people know him retroactively from that.
But it's funny, you know. I like it. I like that comic. I don't think it's the gangbusters thing that internet seems to think it is.
I think it was genuinely like a good idea and pretty creepy. I can see why. And it's one of his favorites too, as we found out during the interview, which was interesting to find out what he thought his favorites were. It was a whole big thing. We got up really early, and all thanks to me, right, Chris? Right?
Absolutely. We would have missed it if it wasn't for this guy.
It. Yeah. I said, what time are we thinking of going there? And we sort of got some insider information that didn't end up being that useful, but saying, yeah, get there around 7 maybe. Doors open at 9.
So I think he said 8, maybe 7,
8,
right?
maybe 7, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I said, you know what? Let's just go an hour or even earlier, just to be safe, because this is a big deal.
Just to lock it in.
Lock it in, right? Just so you don't have to worry, because little did I know, Chris worries a lot about these things.
Did you learn something new about me this week?
Yes, it all makes sense. Not all of it makes sense, but a lot of it makes sense. Now I get it. So
your first rodeo lining up for something, though, Chris. So this isn't your first rodeo lining up for something, though. Like this, you know, like you should be there if you really want to make sure that you're in. Right?
Yeah, but you know what? It's because of this guy. Like I would have completely missed it if it wasn't for him. Like I give all credit to Tim because no joke, I would not have been able to accomplish what we accomplished without him this week.
Yeah, and it was an accomplishment. We got the last morning or the last night bus because the TTC the subways were down for line signal changes that morning. So we caught the last night bus down, and we got there at about 6, and it was pretty cold, and there was already about 30, 35 people ahead of us, I would say.
Dancer on the bus?
What's that? And the dancer, yeah, we saw we saw some big guy, effeminate young man, dancing on the bus, and he danced the whole trip, and he was total friggin' aside. But that guy was very considerate, despite the fact that he seemed like he was on meth. He didn't bump into anybody. He was just enjoying his life, and it actually was sort of delightful.
I
As
thought
start-
I thought it
start of
was
the day.
very delightful. I didn't. I really enjoyed it.
at the start of the day, to see someone else enjoying the day that much more than me, with the help of some drugs that were maybe in the process of wearing off. I'm not sure, but it was pretty amazing. Yeah, so we got there, waited in the frigid cold, and I should have brought some more warm clothes. I didn't realize, but luckily at around 8 a.m., the people came around with the wristbands and gave us wristbands so we could go warm up and leave the line, because it would have been another hour. We would have been standing there 3 hours. And then there was even a couple line butters that came in to meet their buddies, which was really disturbing.
Butters, like
Butters. Butters. And Chris kept like IDing people who he thought were going to be butting in line late, but they never actually did.
Yeah, because they saw me eyeballing them.
That's what I was just going to say.
They knew what was going to happen if they did.
Saw the smoke eye or the stink eye.
I think I'm having a gallbladder attack
right now.
Yeah.
Which side is it on your abdomen?
On the right side.
Maybe you are. Did you
just under my ribs.
That's where the gallbladder is, dude.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It hurts like shit.
Mm-mm.
Do I have to go to the hospital?
You can wait a little longer. If you're talking, you're fine.
As
soon as you stop talking and you're having a hard time, check your temperature too. If you feel feverish, you go right away.
All right.
It might pass, but
good thing we have a doctor here.
Have you had something like that happen before?
Occasionally.
And how long did it last for?
Just little stabbing pains now and again.
Like are they seconds long, or is this like a minute minutes continuous?
No, just pain? like 1 second.
Little zaps?
Yeah, little zaps.
Oh, like on a scale of 1 to 10, what are we talking? Are these zaps?
Like a 7.
Okay. Doesn't sound like gallbladder to me, but
is it cancer?
Well, let me ask you some more questions.
Diagnose me
with cancer. Yeah.
Don't actually diagnose me.
No. You're listening to the WebMD podcast.
Oh God.
I can't diagnose you very well without examining you anyway. So, despite what people will say about virtual interviews.
About WebMD.
Anyway, so yeah, we got our wristbands. We went inside, warmed up. We had some coffee, or I had some coffee, had a little snack, and then we went and walked around. We were very tired, and I wanted to sleep for a bit. Luckily, Chris said, "Let's go downstairs and line up now." I wasn't even thinking about it. Let's go line up now with our wristbands. And then we lined up, and there was a good. How many people do you think were ahead of us? This is the wristband lineup. 80. Yeah, that's about right. So Chris immediately started panicking. I didn't know he was panicking.
What did she say though? Do you remember what she said in line after she gave us the wristbands?
No,
she made
you panic.
She made it very clear that he was only going to sign until 1 o'clock.
Oh.
And she emphasized that. She said it a couple times. She's only signing till 1.
That's what made you panic. Okay, now I can understand a little bit more. So then, yeah, I was like, yeah, no worries. You know, they've figured this out. 100 people, 100 wristbands. Everyone gets 1 book. Then we discovered they were doing photos, which, although that initially made us happy, it only served to make Chris more worried, because then that was going to take more time per person. But pretty soon I realized we were good based on the time. And then Chris bet me that we weren't good, and then he bought me lunch, because we did end up meeting Vegito. And it was funny because Fanny and Jane showed up partway through, and they just showed up next to the line. Like, I don't know how they teleported there, because there were people waiting upstairs who weren't allowed to go downstairs. But apparently Fanny's special power is she can just bypass lines and be invisible. Not even be invisible. People just she hypnotizes people, and they just go ahead, go downstairs. So she showed up, and then we did a group photo with me and Chris and Jane. with Junji Ito.
which is crazy.
It's crazy. And I wasn't nervous until Chris went up ahead of me. And then I realized I was going to have to go and stand in front of Junji Ito. It was kind of like, I don't know what I would even compare it to, because I've never had that experience before. But I gave him Cat Diary and sort of make eye contact. And then we had our name written in Japanese beforehand to give to him. And then I was so sort of nervous that I wasn't enjoying the moment. So I had to stop myself and say, watch him while he's signing your book, because you're only going to get to see this once. So I watched him, and he did this beautiful like signature with a cat on it. And yeah, it was one of the greatest things ever in my life.
Super surreal.
Yeah, very
so
surreal.
surreal. And I think that's what we said when we were at the live drawing and interview. Like, just take this in, because this is insane that this actually is happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, never did I ever expect that we'd be able to be in that situation.
No, yeah, for sure. And the
So-
live drawing was cool. Keenan?
So my experience in these things is that they try to get these lines moving. They don't have the photos, so that's pretty interesting. That's real nice of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, did you guys like have like any opportunity to like at least say something to him or anything like that?
Yeah, I chatted a little bit to him. I just said, like, I have fake fans all around. You know what? I say I had so much fun in line waiting for that.
Me too.
Like, we really had a good time, like making jokes,
Mm-hmm.
talking about whatever. So one of the gags through the whole thing was everybody's a fake fan. You look around and it's all books that have been published in the last couple of years. And here I am with like my 18-year-old, like, second printing. Yeah, I know, second printing.
You thought it was first
Uzumaki.
printing. You thought it was first printing.
But just super old book that, like,
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure that I brought that one, because it shows, I've had it for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Been a fan for a while. So that was like the first thing I said when I got there. I'm like, I've been a fan for a super long time. This, this is an old printing of this book. Just been a fan for a long time. And then Jane like ran up, and she was excited because she knew Cat Diary as well. Like, she'd read Cat Diary and a couple of things. So I felt kind of strange after the fact, but I was like, oh yeah, she really likes Cat Diaries, some of the other stuff. And I was thinking about it after, and I was like, is that weird? Like, is he like, you let your kid read the stuff that I draw? You know
I
what
don't think
mean?
so. He has 2 kids, right? 2
Yeah.
daughters.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah.
And then he called Jane cute, which was awesome. Yeah, I tried to, and I think, Tim, where you said, like, take this in and, like, just get what you can at this moment. And my reaction was like, I have to talk to him as much as I can.
Right. Good thing you didn't say what you planned to say.
What were you planning to
Say it.
Remember my face and kill me in your next book.
But in Japanese. He
But
was
in
practicing
Japanese.
it in Japanese. And it was very funny.
Man.
Like, it just, and it would have been hilarious, but it's at the same time, I can't. I respect this guy so much.
Yeah, he wouldn't have done it. We were just very giddy because we were very tired as well,
Yeah.
waiting in line. And I just said arigato at the end. I didn't know what to say, so I just said that.
Which is
I was
awesome.
like, oh, he was like, oh. His translator was there. It was cool. The translator.
Wow, you
that was
speak
letting him-
Japanese?
Yeah, that's what he said.
The translator was awesome. I really liked her.
She was really cool.
Yeah.
She translates all his books too, apparently.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was really neat to find out.
Do you remember when we were sitting in the thing? I was like, that name sounds familiar for some reason. And they were like, they translate everything. She translates everything. I was like, oh yeah, I must have seen it in like credits for something, right?
And you saw another credit on the back of your book, which was very fun to see,
That's
that you
right.
didn't know.
I had that book for like 18 years. I didn't realize that what's it called when somebody gives like a little quote for the back of a book?
Yeah, I can't remember what the name for it is.
But it was Chris Butcher, which was hilarious.
Yeah, the owner of Beguiling, right? Who's the
No,
organizer of the festival?
organizer at TCAF.
Oh, okay.
So pretty cool.
Yeah, it
Nice.
was crazy. And
That's
then-
that's the nutty part when I start to think, and I know that we talked about it a little bit, the idea of like how long kind of we've been doing this now. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody that I know from this scene, like, I've known for like 18 years now.
Mhm.
And that's really, really strange. Like, to think that I've known Chris Butcher for 18 years makes no sense to me.
Mhm. Yeah, and the other cool things that happen, like as usual, Jane gets signatures from all the books she's already has from everybody that's there. It's crazy.
She had a
Super
super
cool.
good time.
Hmm.
Actually, you know what? If I can make recommendation, I haven't read many of the books that Jane got at this time. I didn't buy anything for myself this year,
Mm-hmm.
but I think she got 4 or 5 books. But can I make special mention of one called Pilu of the Forest? Pilu. Pilu of the Forest. Let me just double check and make sure that that's right. Pilu of the Woods. All right. Very, very, very cool book. Very, very cool book. It's a quick story. After the show, we went back up to Keenan's house, and they weren't home yet, so we stopped and got some bubble tea, some boba.
Mm.
Hey, boba.
Is that what it's called?
That's what you call it now, boba.
Oh.
Thank the Americans.
So we went and got some boba.
God.
And Kid and I just started reading it just right there, and I was doing one character and she was doing another character, and we ended up reading the entire thing like on the spot. And it's great. It's really, really, really good. And it's one of those things where I don't know. I don't expect either of you to pick this book up. It is a book for children, but I still really, really enjoyed it. And it's one of those things where it's cool the way that it unfolds. You don't know what it's about, and I really, really appreciated kind of what it gave, what it did, you know. So if you're looking for a book for your child who is between 7 and 12 years old, go ahead. Pilu of the Woods by Mai K. Nguyen.
Nice.
Yeah.
I picked up the comic, Korean cookbook comic, which is really neat. Has actual recipes in there and talks about like the ingredients and where each, like all sorts of different information, and it's in comic form. It's very very well done.
What did Anna think about it?
Yeah, she thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Look at it. So yeah, that was that. Went and saw Avengers today. Didn't have high expectations of it, so I enjoyed it. There was one thing in the movie that both Anna and I quite were annoyed by, but other than that, it was just one scene.
What's that?
Everything else was. There's a scene near the end where they do like a girl power moment, which is super, super like pandering, like in your face, like gross, like style of. Yeah, it's just awful.
That's
Like
too
not in a good way. Like in a really noticeably like we're trying too hard way.
bad. Mhm.
That was Infinity War as well, right? Did they have
Even
that?
worse. This one was really bad. Yeah, but everything else was cool. It was fun. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of funny stuff. Didn't overdo it with the jokes.
Did it overdo it with a 3-hour runtime?
No, it was very well paced. Didn't feel it at all. Like shouldn't say that, but it was fine. That's how you do a 3-hour movie. Do it like that.
There should never be any 3-hour movie.
You couldn't. No, I liked it. I preferred this one. I would like them doing. I enjoyed all of it pretty much. Yeah, so I wouldn't watch a 2-hour version of this. I don't know. It was good. I'm paying money for being in the theater. Make it 3 hours.
You're crazy.
Quantity. It's all about quantity.
Quantity over quality. Just give me a long ass movie.
A lot of movie with many actors.
Well, how long was what's it called? How long was that Van what's his face movie that we both watched separately? The insane one with Dylan. Oh, that serial killer movie. That was long, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Joe, what is it? The House that Jack Built. That was a long movie.
Was it?
Yeah,
I didn't know it because it was amazing.
because it was well paced.
I really, really like that movie.
That movie was. I still think about that movie. It was crazy. Disturbing movie.
It's good stuff.
But cool. Yep. So I watched that today, and I played a bit more Sekiro.
You didn't go to work
this
today?
weekend. No, I'm off on Mondays. Yeah.
Tell
But I
me
do a bit of,
Tell me about Kenny. You're not gonna play Sekiro, are you?
No.
you said
No.
it.
So Hold on, before you start though.
Yeah,
because
you go
this is-
ahead.
I feel like this is important to say that if you are going to play this game, or if you're in the middle of playing this game, don't listen to this part. Would you agree with that?
Yes, 100%. Do
Like
not.
this is something that you don't want to be spoiled for if you're going to play the game.
Fast forward, what are we saying, like 5 minutes?
Sure, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Fast forward 5 minutes.
This is a big deal. So Sekiro's by From Software, which they're known for. Well, I won't say that. They're known for different types of games. And they tend to put surprises in their games, actually. And so you're fighting bosses through Sekiro, and this is well beyond maybe halfway through. I don't know. I'm not really sure. And so, like, you're a samurai. There's, like, sometimes big enemies. They're scary sometimes, and that's cool. You come across, like, and the whole theme of the game is, like, the main character is sort of immortal, and these other factions in the game are trying to find their own ways to become immortal. And there's a group of, like, monks that I guess have discovered these parasites or something that I guess give them power or something, or make them immortal in some way that live inside
This
their
game
body.
is so cool.
It's freaking crazy.
Even
yeah.
even just you explaining this, I'm like, fuck, it's so good.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but and it doesn't. There's not a lot of exposition. You just
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yep, and I love it. We've talked about that, like
Yeah.
about how Nocturne did something similar that I really
Mhm.
appreciated, right? Like build a
Mhm.
world without talking to me about the world.
Yeah, make it. Yeah, totally, exactly. Little vignettes, little things that you see, little scenes, all sorts of stuff like
Like
that.
you don't understand any more
Exactly.
than the characters do, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you go past the temple area, and there's lots of those guys, and you keep going, and there's like this valley, and you start seeing these like monkey guys, that little monkeys that can use swords. They're like intelligent monkeys. They attack you with like swords and like muskets and stuff like that. They're crazy. Keep going, and then you end up in, there's all these crazy Buddhist statues that are you like jumping between, and they're like lining the walls of this huge valley, like sort of cliff face thing. You get down in there, and you get to the bottom, and there's like a big shallow, like maybe foot high, like pool of water in this big sort of open area. And there's like a huge Buddha statue, and you jump down, and then you land, and then as soon as you land, the music starts, because you know, like, it's a boss. And you see, like, near this, like a waterfall, this big giant ape, this white ape, who's like facing away from you, and he turns, and then the fight starts. And he's like probably 4 times taller than you. He's like all scarred on his face, and he's got like a giant sword stuck in his shoulder. And
I thought it
he-
was like going like through his neck.
sort of, yeah. It's like kind of in his upper, I don't know, upper shoulder neck, right?
In his
And-
neckle area.
The neckle area. And he's like super brutal, and he like does all his crazy attacks, and he acts like an ape, right? A giant ape. He'll like throw his shit at you and poison you. It's crazy. And it's super hard, and you're like fighting him, and you're like freaking-
Like his literal shit. Like he'll poop
Yeah.
in his hand and throw it at you.
the animation's crazy. He like sort of goes in this sort of weird position, puts his hand behind him, and then he jumps in the air and wheels it at you. He farts too, and it's crazy. It's just really disgusting, and it poisons you. But he's nuts, and you like finally like wear him down, and like I fought him like, I don't know, a good 20 times at that point.
And this is, hold on, because this is very important. Important that you fought him a whole bunch of times before you
Yes.
beat him.
So in all the bosses, you do like a killing blow move, right? It's a special animation. So you like stab him through the eye, and then it does a second one where you jump up over the top of his neck and grab the sword and like basically like drag it down with gravity and just chop his head off. And the sword lands on the ground, his head falls on the ground. He's just like boom, and it's like shinobi execution on the screen, like every time you beat
Which is what it does
Yeah.
for every boss.
every
right?
boss, yeah, boom, and it's all quiet, like yeah, and you like fucking feel great, right? Because you beat this thing. Then all of a sudden it starts to get up and move, and it gets up
With his head cut off.
yeah, and it picks the head up in its left hand, it picks the sword up in its right hand, and the music just amps up into this crazy like violin, like this crazy shit, and it just starts chasing you around, and the way it moves is completely different.
Holding his sword in one hand and his head in the other.
It's completely different movements. It doesn't seem like it's a monkey anymore. And
Oh god, it's terrifying. It's so scary.
it moves like it's a snake or something else like that. You don't know which way it's facing. You can't tell if it's looking at you or if you don't know. It's just crazy. It's doing all these crazy moves, jumping up super high into the air and diving down onto the ground, like insane movements. And like you finally beat that, and then you go and like stab it through the like base of its friggin' neck, where below where its head is, and one of those parasites shoots up through out of his like friggin' esophagus, and that's what was controlling him the whole time. One of those giant like centipede parasites, and that's why it was like moving around like crazy, weird movements and stuff. And it's just one of the craziest things I've seen in a game in like years.
Whoa, that sounds like it's gonna give me nightmares. Just
It, it left huge impact. Like I will say, of the entire game, that was the thing where I was just like, "What am I even looking at right now?"
Yeah,
Like it hit.
And Chris was very good because he didn't spoil it at all. And in fact, he knew that I was stuck on that boss. And I think at one point you told me like, there's something really cool coming out. Let me know when it happens. I won't tell you anything about it. I was like, okay, no idea what he's talking about. And then on Saturday I was like, oh yeah, like I'm really stuck at the ape and this other boss. And he was like, what are you talking about? He's like, ape? What ape? And I'm like, yeah, there's this big ape. He's like, where was that? And he totally convinced me that he'd forgotten about this. So he totally didn't tip me off at all, which was amazing, which was really good. Well done. Because that was the highlight of, it felt like something out of The Thing a little bit. Like it really felt like totally off tone for the game at that point, which, yeah, it just makes me want to go back and play Bloodborne after this too, because I want more of that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, Bloodborne, you expect it, kind of. This, you're not going to expect that. Totally, you'll never. So
I don't know. That sounds like, even from what I've seen of Dark Souls games, I've never heard of anything like that. That sounds crazy, man.
Yeah, it's insane. Very cool.
It's well thought out design. It sounds like
planned, like just with the
out.
parasite thing, like all that stuff, just like built up really well. The Shinobi execution, total tricks you, right? They do that all. That was probably all done on purpose. I wonder how they planned it. I really do. I'm curious about the design process, like whether they made that Shinobi execution thing to trick you later.
For sure they did.
Yeah,
100%.
amazing. Yeah. So, yeah. So that was what I played this week. I don't think I played much else, did I?
You played a little bit of Picross.
Yeah, I played a lot of Picross.
Waiting in line.
Played a bit of that.
I haven't checked it yet, but I just posted on Twitter about an hour ago. Did you see it?
Your completion screen.
Yeah.
I gotta see that.
Completely finished every puzzle without the assistant stuff.
Oh, I thought you were gonna post about your completion screen for manga artists.
Oh no, I should do that too. I also posted something about Dragon's Dogma, where one of the NPCs is like stretched the hell out. There's like a pretty brutal graphical glitch.
Okay, I gotta see that.
It looked amazing.
It's pretty funny.
I'm looking through your tweets. I can't see it.
It's like the very first one.
Oh, okay.
I had something like that happen to me when I was playing Heavy Rain. I downloaded the Heavy Rain demo and it was so broken. I couldn't get it to work a second time. But when I played the Heavy Rain demo, you know when they do like the weird what was that Resident Evil 2 video about like opt facial animations?
Oh yeah. Right.
Like it was doing that in the demo on the
really?
on the PS3. And like the one guy was supposed to be sitting in a chair, but when he was talking, he was in the chair. But if he wasn't talking, then he'd warp to the other side of the room. And like their bodies were all stretched out. It reminded me of that. That was I remember just crying at that that Heavy Rain demo, not working the way it was supposed to work at all.
What's your Twitter actually? Because I can't. I'm looking at your old Twitter.
Supao.
Oh, that's what it is.
If it's the other one, that's just like bullshit for bullshit.
I'm looking at it right now. Nice. Is that your character with the friggin' hat?
Yeah.
I see the stretching. Everyone go to Chris's Twitter page at Supau, SUPAU, and have a look at that video. part of it is funny because of just your character, but the other part is the glitch is pretty funny about our feature. That's great. I'll have to go on there more often.
Do you think I have a? Do you like my effeminate man, the main character?
Yeah, I love him.
I think he's a pretty
Makes me
cool
wanna-
guy. I'm
makes me
happy with
wanna
him.
play.
Yep.
Oh, other news came out this week. Iceborne finally, Monster Hunter World Iceborne news finally came out. Very exciting. Launch date. Pre-orders started. I pre-ordered the regular edition. I didn't pre-order the deluxe because I don't know. You get the dynamic theme anyway with the regular pre-order. You just don't get some of the emotes and stickers, which I don't care about. So, yeah. Did you pre-order, Chris?
I did.
So that's September 6th. So the thing that's different this time about Monster Hunter World compared to the old Monster Hunters is that this is the first time an expansion has come out that's been a digital. Well, you can get the expansion digitally too. And it hasn't been like a re-release of the base game plus the expansion because all the old ones are like, we'll re-release a game, add a bunch of new features, and then add a whole expansion and sell that as a new game. So this is the first time they've added the expansion later on. And it ends up being a bit cheaper, which is nice. And I would imagine the content-wise is going to be still just as good as a regular expansion. So, yeah, like a whole new island. Which at first I was curious because I was a little disappointed that it was only going to be one zone because there's like what 4 zones in the base game, 4 or 5. But pretty much right away the developers were like, no, this is like larger, way larger than any other zone. Like this is, you explore it part pieces at a time and slowly unlock the whole thing, and it's going to be like quite large. So that's really cool. And they showcased some of the new monsters and some of the old monsters and some new moves, which you didn't see, Chris. So I don't want to spoil for you, but there's a lot of cool content there. I'm very excited for it, and it'll be cool to get back into Monhan again. The only question is, yeah, what weapon I want to main.
MR. Are you Ken? Are you back in for this thing or what?
I definitely am.
Jackie's in. If any listeners want to be in,
How could you not be?
send us a send us a little drop, little email at the email address that I don't remember.
That no one checks.
That's okay. Just check it once in a while. So
send us an email anyways. You check it every once in a while.
Send a tweet to Supow.
Yeah, sure.
Twitter, and he'll add you to our Monster Hunter group.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. So I'm super excited for that. Keenan, anything in the world of Keenan?
World of Keenan is passing certification exams.
How was that? Yeah, we heard about that. That was Saturday, right? You wrote that?
Yeah.
Walk me through this.
Walk you through what it's like taking a professional exam at 40 years old. I don't know, man. Like, I'm sure your medical exam was when you became a doctor similar. It's like, but once I don't know how people once they're out of school get back into taking these kinds of exams and like studying.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's really hard. But I don't know, like for me, Amazon Web Services or AWS is like a big part of the growing work of the future of what I'm going to be doing. So it's important to me to get certified to make sure my employment is continually guaranteed. So I decided to start working on that, and I took the exam for SysOps associate, and I passed it this week.
Oh, you find out that quickly?
Yeah, you find out immediately afterwards.
Oh, wow. That's kind of nice that you find out immediately.
Yeah.
Because I would find out like a month and a half later for all my exams.
Yeah. Like the thing I would say, like, I don't know, this is maybe something unique to anybody in the tech industry, is that you really have to be careful of your certifications and the kind of company and work that you're working in, because you can easily find yourself on the outside looking in if you're not careful. It's a little bit different in my opinion, than some other industries, because in those other industries, as long as you have the fundamentals, you can still basically work anywhere. But if you're in tech and you're working in a unique technology space, and that all of a sudden falls out of favor, you could be in a lot of trouble. So,
You could be dead.
well, you could be looking for a completely different career in a different area, and that becomes difficult, because then you won't get the same salary that you once did.
Or you could die.
Or you could die.
Who's your executor, Keenan? Come on. You must tell us now. Chris told us.
I don't have a will yet. That's a good question. Probably my brother will be my executor.
I love the term executor. I say it like that because that's how Protoss says it in StarCraft. Executor.
I know I'm Chris's executor, but I just don't know. Like, I'm just the guy who just makes sure the will like takes place, right? That's about
executor.
I'm not actually like, if as part of your will you say like, okay, you have to like your
eat my ashes.
Eat your ashes. I have to actually go and do it. Or feed them to the people that need to be fed.
You can execute people.
You execute the rest of my family so they can join me in heaven.
Is that part of your will?
It's a friggin'. It sounds like something out of like Klingon shit from Star Trek or something. Their honors only friggin' survived if they all die within like a certain amount of time or something.
Chris was survived by no one.
Or temporarily survived by.
It's got to be a chain of executors just going to town.
But yeah.
So you're done. You did it. Congrats. What did you reward yourself?
There's never anything done, Tim. Like, that's the thing. Like, certification. Like, these things like last for 3 years and you have to retake them. And
I
then
know, but for now. And did you reward yourself with a video game purchase?
No.
No. You know what we talk about on this podcast, Keenan?
I hear it's video games sometimes.
Tell me about that other thing that you were talking about, Mordhau.
Me?
Mordhau.
Tell me about Mordhau.
Mordhau is a video game.
What's Mordhau?
So a Mordhau is actually the term. Is a German word for when you take, instead of holding a sword with the hilt in your hand, you hold it with the blade in your hand. So you gotta have like metal, like what are those called? Bracers? No, metal gloves. You grab the blade by the sword end, and then you smash the hilt into someone's head to kill them. Called a Mordhau. Yeah.
What's Michael?
What's Michael? Nice reference, Chris, and nobody but me gets, not even Keenan. But no, Mordhau is a game that's by the or some of the guys that did Chivalry that we played a bit, Chris, and had a lot of fun with. It's a silly like swords and shields, crazy mayhem like multiplayer game, first person, and you run around and you chop each other's heads off. And this is like a newer version of that type of game. It seems like it's getting a lot of traction. Looks like it's a lot of fun. You can ride around on horses and spear people. You can kick their weapons out of their hand and lop people's heads off, 360 moves, all that kind of stuff. Looking at it, thinking about it.
I didn't get into Chivalry that much, but like, what made it so special for you guys?
Sort of visceral and just silly. Right?
Compared to something like For Honor or something like that, like, which is, I don't know, a bit more polished, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was For Agatha. For Agatha is what really did it, eh, Chris? Like you literally being able to yell these hilarious like cheers for your side, and just everyone yelling them, and I don't know, maybe it was the right time for that. It's a bit janky too. That probably had a bit of a part of it, but
definitely helps.
Yeah, just a stupid fun game where you try, it's all about like 2v1s and running around behind a guy and stabbing him while the other guy's distracting him, and that's hilarious stuff, jump kicking a guy off of a ledge and
what? I thought you said it's a medieval game. Are you
Kick
jump
people.
kicking a guy?
You can jump and then press the kick button. and
You
then
couldn't
kick
jump
someone
kick
else.
in medieval times.
Yeah.
Not with that armor on, I don't think.
Well, you don't have to wear it.
You
can-
wear
if you're-
peasant armor.
Yeah, you wear the peasant armor and you can run really fast, just like you can in real life.
Shiv's so good.
Yeah. So look at Mordau. Think about it. Could be a good time. I don't think it's too expensive. It's early access, I think.
It's like
everything is now,
$33.
It's like $30. Yeah.
Not expensive at all.
No. Not too bad. You like multiplayer first person. Yeah.
Speaking of expensive games,
Uh-oh.
I bought not that expensive. It was on sale. That's why I bought it. Have I talked to you about Madorica Real Estate?
I feel like I don't remember. No. Just let's say no.
There's a game that I kind of had my eye on for a little while called Madorica Real Estate. I'm not sure why. Just every once in a while a game will hit. Either I heard something about it at some point or I saw it in the shop and I was like, that looks really cool. I want to play that. So I had it on my wish list for quite a while, maybe a year. And then I saw just recently.
I have heard of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you did mention it.
And it went on sale recently.
Mhm.
So I decided now is the time.
It looks really interesting. Yeah.
So I picked up Madorica Real Estate. The pitch for this game is that there is you work for a real estate agency called Madorica Real Estate. Apparently in the city there are many properties with ghosts living in them. In Madorica Real Estate, you have to search for the only property that doesn't have ghosts in the entire city. Your job requires you to exorcise the ghosts in each room so that the new owners can live there in peace. Hints to beating the ghosts can be found around the rooms and from Mr. Madorica. If you use the hints to solve the puzzles and input the commands, even a newbie real estate agent like you can use magic.
Thank you for that summary, Chris. Felt very organic and authentic.
So it's a super strange game, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet because I've only played a little bit.
Yeah.
But right from the beginning of the game, they're like, you got to print off all this shit.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm into this already, right?
Yeah.
And so they said, if you don't have a printer, and I love on the website, it said, not everybody has a printer. We also developed an app. Okay.
Yeah.
So I downloaded the app.
Yeah.
I got the PDFs. I didn't print them off, but I had them up on the screen.
Mhm.
And I see the benefit of printing them off. I'm going to check out the app later and see how it is.
Sure.
But you don't need the supplement stuff. You can still do it without, but it helps. Like you can do it with pen and paper because you have to write things down.
Right.
You can just do it on regular paper if you want, but it's kind of a cooler experience to do it in the notes that they give you.
Yeah, man.
And really, I mean, and I don't know if the game's going to change, but really all you're doing is looking for like a button series, like input series, where L&R make you close your eyes, and then you put in a sequence of button inputs to cast a spell.
Right.
And the spell does different things, like it can warp you. There's like an unscramble spell, and then there's exorcism spells. And so what you have to do is like decode the hints around the room to find out what the correct sequence is, and then fire the exorcism spell at the ghost, and then you beat that level.
Oh, neat.
Um,
I'm digging it. I'm digging the sound of that. I like games that you print off manuals, right?
I know you do.
Like the one game that
I do.
Shenzhen.
So it's interesting. I'm curious to see whether it ends up doing more than that or if it's just this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe there's something else.
Yeah. And if not, it's fine. Like I don't regret it at all. But I think that it could be something real special. It's on sale for another 3 days if you're interested.
Nice.
Madorica Real Estate.
On Steam now.
I don't know. Good question.
It is on Steam, but not on sale. It's $21.99 there.
There you go. So I think that's all I played.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
I bought another game, but I haven't played it yet.
What'd you buy?
Breakfast Battle, I think it's called.
I
What?
can never predict these games. I'm always like, I wonder what it'll be. Breakfast.
Breakfast Battle is a breakfast themed game
Keep going.
in the vein of Arkanoid,
Yeah.
but with a focus on cooperative and like multiplayer challenge modes.
Very nice. All right.
It looks like total bullshit, but it was super cheap.
It
And
looks
so,
cool. Looks like it could be cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's the kind of thing that you play like, you know, for a half hour and then never again. But it looks pretty fun. It looks pretty chaotic. So we'll see. I'm not in love with the store.
Mhm.
With the store, with the aesthetic,
Mhm.
the style. But check it out.
Nice.
The thing that drives me crazy about this is that it's actually called #Breakfast Battle, which drives me crazy.
Oh yeah, that's awful.
It's really,
They
really
won't
bad.
First
I'll
on
go
their
look it up.
SEO.
What?
They want to be first on their search engine optimization.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it that
stupid.
really?
It's dumb.
That's
SEO,
sad.
man.
Not into it.
What all this stuff is about.
It's an all new version of the cult favorite breakfast / exorcism themed waffle busting game Breakfast Battle.
I got
I'm talking about this.
a choice game for you, Chris, that I just put on my wish list on Steam. You might want to
that?
look into this.
What's that?
It's called Just Shapes and Beats.
I have it on. Ken and I were playing it recently.
Really? Is it
Was
good?
it- Yeah, I have it on Switch.
Oh yeah, is it good?
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, I might check it
Yeah.
out. Looks
I
really
paid way too much for it. How much is
Oh.
it on Steam?
$23.
Yeah, I think I paid. Is it on sale?
No.
I want to say that I paid 30 for it.
Overwhelmingly positive on Steam. Pretty
If you're a millennial, maybe.
fair enough.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
Do you
I
know that?
don't have the same bonus tracks that were on yours, man.
Do you know Breakfast Battle features EDM songs like Waffle Love and Brunch My Body?
All right. You know how much I love EDM. That's the show, everybody.
We call you EDM Master. That is your name.
Yeah. Anyways.
I don't have anything else. This week sucked. I mean, the weekend was awesome. I really, really love Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of this week was bullshit.
No.
Yeah, but that Saturday was the meat of the week, so that's fine.
Yeah, and everybody knows that you only have like a certain level of happy.
Yeah.
And I
Use
used
it
it
all
all
up
up on the
Saturday.
weekend, so the rest of this week is fucking shit.
It must have been pretty bad because Saturday was pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it drained everything. And the week starts on Saturday,
Wow.
right? Like in talking about your good karma, your happy karma for the week.
Right.
That resets on Saturday at midnight.
There you go. Well, then you're good now.
No, I'm not. If it resets on Saturday, that means that Saturday was awesome. The rest of the week is trash. I've used it up.
Oh, going forward.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant a reset. So
Come on, man. Everybody knows how it works.
Hey, look, you got a long weekend coming up, okay? And we're gonna all get together and have a good.
Oh shit. So what's gonna happen is that on Monday, I'm gonna use it up for the following week.
Yeah, Keenan. Ruined his next week
Yeah,
too.
thanks a lot.
And then I get to go to Anime North for 3 days. So, yeah.
No one's forcing you. No one's forcing you.
Friendship is forcing me, jerk.
All right. Hopefully that person isn't listening to this.
Why? You're the jerk who's like saying that I shouldn't be going and I have a choice about this.
You don't have to. You sound like you're not enthused anyway.
Of course I'm not enthused. It's work.
Well, you make a bit of money.
Make a bit of store credit.
Yeah, okay. Friendship, buddy.
All right, we done or what?
Hard to understand that concept.
Yeah, I think we're done.
All right, we'll talk to you both another time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
See you.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Maybe Jackie next week.
Oh, we can only hope.
Well, okay, bye. See you.
Bye.